Good evening, everyone. I'm Sue Swearingen, Voter Service Chair for the League of Women Voters of Glenview-Glencoe, which also serves Northbrook. So who is the League and why do we do forums? If you're not familiar with us, the League of Women Voters was born from women defying the odds to publicly educate and advocate what was then, in the 1870s through the early 1900s, a groundbreaking idea: expanding women's rights for educational and professional opportunity in America. Recognizing women's right to vote was one part of that effort. And from that effort came the 19th Amendment to the Constitution, which again recognized women's right to vote. Education, voting rights, and voter turnout from there is really the heart of our mission as your local league. We are in our 84th year supporting this area. Candidate forums and other engagements of this type give the public the opportunity to hear directly from candidates in an inclusive and nonpartisan way. Before today, both candidates on the ballot for Northfield Township Clerk received invitations to participate in this forum, and gratefully they both accepted and are here for you tonight. They seek your vote for the one open position of Township Clerk. We hope you find this forum helpful as you make your plan for selecting who to vote for and then casting your ballot. There are a few preliminaries to touch on before I turn it over to our moderator. This forum is being recorded. In a few days, it will be posted on our website at www.lwvglens.org. You can view it in its entirety at that time. We ask that you please share the link with other voters. All candidates signed the same ground rules to participate today and will be asked the same questions submitted by you, the audience, with the same amount of time to answer. On that note, at this time, we only have a handful of questions. So we'd like to give the candidates the full time that they have available to them to talk to you about their positions on the issues that are important to you. So please, if you do have questions, submit them to our ushers here, and they'll give you a card and a pencil. No questions will be asked from the floor. Written questions will be reviewed by league volunteers back in the back to check for redundancy, legibility, clarity, and to make sure it's a question for Township Clerk. Sometimes we get multiple questions involving the same issue or an idea. And so when our league volunteers look through the questions ahead of time, we make sure that we can consolidate them, and that leaves time for other audience questions. Everyone here has some views that are not the same as the next person. Out of respect for the candidates and your fellow audience who also took time to be here tonight, we ask that you hold your applause until the end of the forum and not interrupt or demonstrate support or opposition of any candidate or response. I'll now hand the forum over to our moderator, Lisa Fliegler. Lisa is a member of the League of Women Voters of the Arlington Heights area and is a trained moderator. She served on the board of her local league for 4 years as the Director of Voter Services. Lisa has participated in dozens of forums in the past 7 years in various roles and has been a moderator for 6 years. Currently, Lisa serves as the local league representative for the Cook County League's Board of Directors and serves on the County League's Voter Services Committee. Welcome, Lisa, and we're grateful to have you here tonight.
Okay, thank you, Sue. As Sue said, I'm a member of the Arlington Heights Area League of Women Voters and live outside Northfield Township, so I will not be able to vote for any of the candidates participating in this evening's forums. The League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan political organization that neither supports nor opposes specific candidates or parties for any office. Providing forums is a major mission of the League of Women Voters so that citizens can become better informed about the issues facing their community and to become better acquainted with the candidates running for office. The format tonight is a candidate forum and not a debate. Candidates are expected to accurately represent the facts, and their responses reflect their own views and opinions. We do hope the candidates will speak to their goals and plans and refrain from speaking about another candidate or what another candidate has or has not done. The candidates will begin in alphabetical order with their 90-second opening statements. They will then alternate the order in which they answer questions for 90 seconds. And after the question portion of the forum, each candidate will have 90-second closing statement. Members of the league will be acting as timers. Should a candidate exceed the time limit, I will ask them to finish and move on to the next sentence, finish their sentence and move on to the next candidate. To our audience, I would ask those here in attendance to please turn off cell phones and other electronic devices. I would also ask that you be respectful and refrain from applauding or in other ways demonstrating support or opposition of a candidate. Finally, to the candidates, I would like to say on behalf of everyone here, how appreciative we are that you are not only willing to serve in office, but that you have agreed to be here tonight. So let's get started. Candidate Fliegler, you have 90 seconds for your opening statement.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Caryn Fliegler, and I am here to ask for your vote this evening for Clerk of Northfield Township for my second term in office. Thank you to the League of Women Voters and to all of you for being here. So I wanted to start first also by thanking my two daughters who are here tonight. It warms my heart to see their smiles in the audience. And I wanted to tell you a little bit about another smile, my grandmother's smile. She came to this country as a refugee. She had a beautiful smile. She had a warm heart. But that smile belied a really difficult history. She had lost her entire family in the Holocaust. She survived along with her sister. She lost her daughter who was taken from her. She came to this country without anything left but her husband, my grandfather, and my mom, who was 3 years old at the time. The only way that they got on their feet in this country was with help from something called the Hebrew Immigrant Aid Society, HIAS, which very recently has had its government funding cut. And so part of my reasoning for being here tonight is because it's been instilled in me to serve people in need. My mom went on to attend the University of Illinois. I went on to get 2 degrees and work in with a background in journalism and communications and then nonprofit grant management. I'm proud to serve as your current clerk. I have brought detail-oriented and fact-based skills to this role, and I would look forward to a second term in office, and I'm looking forward to answering questions this evening.
Thank you. Candidate Lynch.
Hello and good evening. My name is Phyllis Lynch. I want to thank the League of Women Voters for inviting me and the other members of our slate to this forum. I have lived in Glenview for over 30 years, with most of that time living in Northfield Township. My husband Mike and I have raised and educated 2 children in this community. During that time, I was involved with the Girl Scouts, the Boy Scouts, the Walk for Life, and other nonprofit organizations. I attended Oakton and community colleges with a focus in business. My professional background is in managerial and administrative positions in the commercial real estate industry, the medical industry, and the manufacturing industry. With 25 years in private industry, I have honed my skills as a communicator with the ability to listen. I am an organized and detailed worker. Securing the clerk's position will give me the opportunity to reach out to the residents of Northfield Township to inform them of what the township has to offer if there is a need, while executing the statutory duties of being the township clerk. Thank you.
Thank you. Our first question will be answered by candidate Lynch. What do you see as the top 3 priorities for the township clerk in the coming term, and what challenges will affect the clerk's ability to execute them? You have 90 seconds.
Thank you for the question. I think the top priority would be to make sure that all the statutory duties that are required of the clerk are done. I would also like to see the monthly board meetings recorded, audio and visually, and put on the website that the Northfield Township office has. I would also like to see an adjustment made on the website under the Human Service tab. You have all the agencies right now are listed on the bottom, and they're listed in alphabetical order. And I would like to see those categorized under the type of service that they offer, because most names of agencies don't give you a hint as to what they offer. So if you put all the mental health underneath the mental health, the senior services under something, I think it would be easier for the residents when they're looking for some aid of some sort, they would be able to go to that and find it quickly. I also would move the agencies up on the page. Right now, they're way at the bottom, and I almost missed them when I went on recently. I would also like to see a year-end tally count for how many residents were served through these agencies, just like an FYI, so that the taxpayer knows where their money is going. And lastly, it's kind of a fun thing. I saw it on another. Thank you.
Candidate Fliegler, same question. I'll reread these questions if you need, just ask.
Thank you. And I'll say to the audience too, it's a little stressful to be up here and see these time numbers. If you trip up, it's because of that. So 4 years ago, I ran on the core values of effectiveness, transparency, and collaboration in the clerk's role. And those are values that I hope to continue in the next 4 years. My top 3 priorities would be to continue to file documents in a timely and efficient and compliant manner. The clerk is responsible for filing all of the documents that are essential to a functioning government. So the levies, the budgets, all of our financial documents and audits, our payables, our meeting minutes, and more. I conduct oaths. I have election duties. So continuing to file all of these documents and doing so in a way that is done in a compliant manner is essential to this role. I also continue to focus on transparency. I think it's essential to the clerk's role to make sure that people who are voters and taxpayers are aware of what the township is doing, what your government is doing. And so continuing to make sure that you can access documents on the website will be key. And then the last thing that is essential to me is collaboration. The clerk does not have a voting role, but the clerk has a really important behind the scenes role, collaborating with board members and with staff so that the board is equipped with what they need for the meetings and so that you as the public have what you need to understand what we're doing.
Thank you. All right, the next question. Candidates run for township office as affiliates of political parties. Do you see this position as political in nature? How are the values and policies of the Republican Democratic parties relevant to township office? Candidate Fliegler, you have 90 seconds.
Thank you for that question. So it's interesting because to me, the word political is different from the word partisan. I see everything in life as political because none of us would be here today. There would be no library, there would be no roads, there would be no police presence without a political system in this country. Now, if we're talking about being partisan, the township is inherently not a partisan office. As I think was said earlier this evening, it is really a role that is defined in Illinois law and in code to have very specific responsibilities. We cannot make it into something that it's not. There was some talk earlier this evening about us funding other taxing bodies and such. What is actually true is that the township can only do 3 things, and those 3 things are all we can do. So I think it's really important to understand that it is not a particularly partisan or ideological level of government. It is the closest level of government to people in need in this area. Now, in terms of being part of the Democratic Party, I'm a proud Democrat. I have always been a Democrat, but I'm also incredibly able and willing to work with people from any background and any party. And as clerk, I serve people of all backgrounds, people who vote in any way, and I think that's really essential. But I'm a proud Democrat, especially in this moment. I would be remiss if I did not point out what is happening in this country, especially to people in need. Jobs are being lost, Medicaid is being cut. I'm proud to be part of a party that serves people, cares about people, and meets those needs instead of saying those things and not actually doing them.
Thank you. Candidate Lynch, same question.
Could you repeat the question, please?
Sure. Candidates run for township office as affiliates of political parties. Do you see this position as political in nature? How are the values and policies of the Republican and Democratic parties relevant to township office?
Thank you. I don't see this position as political. I see it as 2 political parties coming together to serve the community the best they can. Because The Democrats have a different idea of what they would like to see done in the community, and the Republicans also have things that they would like to see in the community. And I think to be fair to the community, that the board should be a combination of both parties. Because that way you can have, you know, I call it a voice of reason. You can have these difficult conversations and try to work out the differences to serve the entire community. You also have, a voice of reason when you're spending the taxpayer money. You know, some people want to spend more, while some people want to spend less, but our job is to serve the community as a whole. And doing that takes all kinds of ideas and suggestions and ways of accomplishing that. And I think if you have a blend of both political parties serving a community which is made up of a blend of both political parties, it could be a win-win situation. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next question. Do you see any way to streamline the services offered by the township clerk to reduce costs to the taxpayers? Candidate Lynch.
Thank you. Honestly, no. I think the job that is being done right now by the clerk is a good job. I was looking at her notes and they're quite detailed and they're quite good. I would just like to see more communication in the community. I know that was a goal, but as a resident of the community, I did not feel that. I did not see that. I do have a couple ideas. I was thinking to do some annual letter mailings to the community, because not everybody in our community has a computer where they can go online and see what's happening at the township. For those that do have a computer, it's a great resource. I think a mailing at the beginning of the year, just to remind the residents that we're there. This is what we offer. Please come and see us. Would be an addition. I think would be a good addition. And then at the end of the year, do that tally of how many people were served by the services that the township offered. I think we've got what we need, even through COVID. The connections in the community were good. They got the donations they needed from, you know, the residents. They had the corporate donations. They had the connection with the high school, where the high school students came in and helped out. I think we've got what we need. I think what we're doing is good. I just think that we need to keep it right sized.
Thank you. Candidate Fliegler.
So as far as further efficiencies cost-wise, the clerk's role is relatively inexpensive. So I'm not sure that there's a lot of opportunity to trim anything, but I do think there's opportunity to continue to be efficient as far as collaborating with clerks from other townships. So every month or every other month, I attend an association dinner with clerks from throughout Cook County. And we always have a learning session as part of that, as well as just talking, making connections, and then we're able to follow up with each other. So for example, with election duties recently, I was able to be in touch with other clerks rather than spending a lot of my time, which I couldn't use to then do other things. I was able to just email a fellow clerk and ask a question. So I think that's a place for efficiencies. I also think I have a background in grants management. I'm currently a grants officer for a nonprofit. So I bring those skills to my role, even though I'm not on the Human Services Commission. One of the things I'm proud of in my term is I created a rubric to evaluate applications so that it is a more objective review process. I was not asked to do that. That is not something that is technically something I had to do, but it's something that I brought to the role as far as my skills and increased efficiencies and increased the ability for us to really make smart, objective decisions when reviewing these applications for Human Services Commission funding. So there's obviously opportunities there. And lastly, I will say, unfortunately, I'm sorry, it sounds like we do have a mailing that goes out at least once a year, if not more. So we should talk and make sure that you're receiving that, because we do have that mailing. So we can do that after.
Okay, the next question. Some have suggested that particularly in urban and suburban areas, there is little need for township government, and that municipal and or county government should absorb many of the township's functions as a way to save taxpayer money. What do you see as the value of Northfield Township government for its residents? And candidate Fliegler.
Great, thank you. So first of all, if you look at your tax bill, your annual tax bill, which I recognize for the vast majority of people is too high in the state of Illinois, I won't argue that point. The township is one of the lowest, if not the lowest part of your tax bill. For everything that you get and for everything that you're doing so that you have a strong community, it's about $65 a year on average. The increases that we've been discussing throughout this evening, which by the way, we're at a slower rate of increase than the prior administration, we're talking about a $15 to $20 difference over 4 years. So it is really not that much. It's probably 2 trips to Starbucks for my daughters. So I think the township provides an incredibly important safety net service. If municipalities wanted to take that on, I think that's a conversation that we could be open to. But to date, that conversation has not really been resolved. And I worry about political efforts to get rid of townships without having a plan in place. In terms of the county, as we all know, we're in Cook County. I don't think Cook County has the capacity to take on another level of government and service, especially one that is so close to local needs, such as the food pantry.
Thank you, candidate Lynch.
Could I have a question again, please?
Sure. Some have suggested that particularly in urban and suburban areas, there is little need for township government, and that municipal and or county government should absorb many of the township's functions as a way to save taxpayer money. What do you see as the value of Northfield Township government for its residents?
Thank you. You know, with the township government is like the first step that some people take in reaching out to get some sort of social service or medical service. And I think our township offers a huge variety of services. So that's my train of thought. It's a great resource to go, a first step. And I think if we continue to manage it well, the township will survive. You know, we're all kind of worried about bloating the agency into a bureaucracy. But I think if we do our due diligence and do what we're supposed to do, which is provide these services, the township will be around for a while. I mean, we have vital services. We have general and emergency assistance, you know, which is the food pantry, the notary service, the passport service, and then we have the emergency service, which is an annual service by resident when to come in for medical or housing or utility. I think if we stay right size, we're gonna do all right, you know, because Illinois does tax more than any other state, and there is legislation out there that we've heard about tonight to do away with townships. I just think if we do what we're supposed to do and do it well, township is going to do it. So, thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to combine 2 of these. What strategies and tools do you plan to use to make township documents available to the public? And would you add video and audio recording of township meetings and have them available for the public to view at a later date? Candidate Lynch.
Thank you. That was one of my suggestions. I really think that the monthly board meeting should be recorded and placed on the website for those that can't attend that evening so that they can view it. I'm sorry, I'm losing the question. I think as far as documents being available on the website, no, for me, that's something to be determined. I have not been in this position before. I don't know everything that's involved in the clerk's position, but I have adapted it to other industries. I know that there's a school for the township clerk that I can go to learn all the duties. And but I think as much as we can make possible for the residents to view, the better. Because, you know, the word transparency is used a lot, but I find that word wanting sometimes. I think making those documents available as much as possible would be a promise made and a promise kept. So I think that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Fliegler.
Thank you, and I appreciate that idea to record our meetings, both audio and video. And I also want to thank candidate Lynch for being here tonight and for running for office. It's not easy to run for office, and I appreciate it. I think we both appreciate this conversation. So that is certainly something I would be open to, and again, I appreciate your sharing that idea. Certainly something I would consider doing. There are very specific laws in Illinois about document storage, which it falls under the clerk. So if you are recording and posting meetings, there are laws as far as how long you can and should be keeping them for. So that would add a layer, certainly one I would be open to considering. As far as accessing documents, so it's actually something that's really interesting because this is something I would like to improve upon if I do have 4 more years, which I'm hoping to have. We took a giant leap forward with our improved website, which has been the topic of much conversation tonight. The $23,000 that was for an entirely new communications platform. Part of that is part of the website has all of our documents on it. All the documents I discussed earlier, the levies, the budgets, the audits, the meeting minutes, and more, committee meeting minutes, all of it. But I would like to continue to improve it, and I have been in touch with our staff and the company that worked on our website to provide some feedback that I think it could be even better. And that's something that's really important to me. I do take transparency really, really seriously as a former journalist, and certainly as somebody who cares about details. It's my job.
Thank you. And we're now into the closing statements. We'll start with candidate Lynch. You have 90 seconds.
Okay, thank you. I want to again thank the League of Women Voters for inviting me to this forum. My name is Phyllis Lynch and I am running for the clerk's position in Northfield Township. With 25 years in private industry, I will bring my professional experience to this position. My background consists of years of working with and serving others successfully. I and the other members of our slate would greatly appreciate your support in this upcoming election. With a careful eye on spending practices within the next 4 years, we can make decisions that will not bloat the township into a bureaucracy that does not work for the residents. Our campaign phrases are service. We honor the Northfield Township history of delivering service to those in need. Honesty. We know how the township works best when we focus on what we are supposed to do. And accountability. We will serve all residents of the township. We will be prudent, responsible, and open to how we spend the taxpayers' money. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Fliegler.
Thank you. So I have spent the last 4 years learning how to do the role of clerk of Northfield Township. There are certainly resources available to do that. There is a handbook from the Township Officials of Illinois. There are other clerks to talk to. And my predecessor was incredibly gracious when I stepped into the role. But there is a lot of detail that is not written down anywhere. And there's a lot of learning that is done in this role. And to be frank with you, it's not things that you can get wrong. If you miss a deadline, it is possible that the taxing body, the township, cannot then levy and tax its residents. So it is really important to have somebody in this job who knows what they're doing. And I am all for having a learning curve. I was new to this 4 years ago, but I really have built a strong body of knowledge in the last 4 years that I would like to continue building on. 4 years is not quite enough to get really expert at a role. I've gotten really good at it, but I'd like to continue building on that role. As I mentioned, I have more to do. I'd like to make our documents even easier to find. I would like to continue to make communication with the community a priority. I also want to end on this note. We are not in a normal time. We are not in a time when we can have small discussions about a little bit here, a little bit there, or we are all very nice people, but to be honest with you, it's really important that we have people at this level of government who will protect people and protect people in need. And I will stand as somebody who will do that. I don't have a voting role, but I work well with others and I will continue to collaborate. Thank you.
Please join me in thanking the candidates for being with us tonight and sharing their ideas.